You've tuned into The Mountain Gardener with your host, Ken Lain. Gardening can be challenging, but with these simple insider tips, you'll reap huge rewards. Now, let's tune into today's Mountain Gardener with Ken and Lisa. And we are back at The Mountain Gardener, your host, Ken Lain, and my wife of a couple of years, still madly in love.
Yes.
Yes, we are. So anyway, after several decades, 4 kids, 6 grandkids, we're still selling plants here at Waters Garden Center.
Yep.
And part of that is we start to hear from your neighbors, your friends. We start answering emails and Facebook posts and comments and the questions. What are other people talking about? And so we have this segment that just comes in and shares what your neighbors are talking about. Did I kind of summarize that pretty well?
I think so.
Well, good. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you.
Glad you're in the studio.
Good to be here.
How are your gardens looking, by the way?
Ours are looking really good.
I would agree.
Ours are doing well.
Yeah, they're like over the top. I did have to fertilize. So I saw that I had some bugs, some caterpillars were eating the budworms, were eating the petunias.
I hate those things.
I spritzed them with spinosad soap. So there's a special organic soap we have that's just for caterpillars. Highly effective. Oh, I was impressed. But I hit the flowers of being eaten with that. And then I hit them with the flower power fertilizer. And boy, it's been 7-10 days. They're back at it going, okay, you took the caterpillars out, fertilized me. I'm just going to bloom my little hearts out.
Yeah, that's nice. It is a good time to kind of preview your yard and look for insects. Some spider mites are out.
Yeah.
There's still some aphids going on, budworm. So it's a good idea to get out there and check those things out.
Everything is growing fast right now. So you don't want to wait a couple days. Oh, I'll go to the garden center this weekend. It's Monday. Well, by the time it's this weekend, your caterpillars might eat all of your tomato plant. They might take all of your flowers. So either have it ready on the shelf. So that's what we do. We just have it sitting there. We know we're going to get caterpillars. We know we're going to get mildew. We just know we're going to see spider mites. It's just part of the game in the mountains of Arizona. It's part of gardening. It's outdoor living.
Nature.
And so when I see that, I go, oh, I got this soap, zip, 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 fertilize it, and away we go. But don't wait a week or two, or you might have to come in and replace the entire plant, which I don't mind that. But for my friends, the listeners, we want you to be successful and just have it waiting to go and be ready and just watch things bloom.
I had a gal yesterday that had a butterfly bush that was just coated in spider mite.
Oh no.
You can tell because it has like this glove thing that shrinks around it. I was like, oh my. So we decided, just what you said, we're going to toss that one and start fresh.
Yeah. Sometimes it can be easier that way or just almost less expensive because you're spritzing every day for like a week. I don't know. Sometimes it's easier to start over. I had the same thing with a customer. They had a native juniper, a big one. I mean, a big alligator juniper. And it had the same thing. Spider mites were so bad, it was just coating this white
film.
Yeah, it was like a spidery webby thing. Yeah. And you can't start over there. So I said, okay, here's what we do. Here's a hose and sprayer. Here's the thing. I'll preset it for you. Just put this on the end of the hose, fill this up and spray it. Hit it like once a week until all that is gone. And then pray for rain and fertilize it with all-purpose plant food and your tree will be fine. And I'm sure it will be fine.
Right.
But if you left it unchecked, they'll strip that tree of all of its foliage and it will starve to death. Literally, it won't have enough tissue to have photosynthesis to create sugars. And anyway, just if you have problems, come see us earlier rather than later because everything grows fast right now.
Including the bugs.
Anyway, what kind of questions we got?
Sure. So Tom wants to put in Aspen. He wants to know what's the advantage of a clump opposed to a single.
Yeah, good question.
And then also what's the soil that they like and what's he looking at water-wise for that first season?
So Tom, those are great questions. So Aspens are one of the number one, maybe it's our number 2 selling tree here at the Garden Center. Of course, we're in Aspen country. In Prescott, Arizona, your Aspen Creek is right there. It's Spruce Mountain's full of aspens. They naturally grow down to our level, but they will continue to grow if you put them on irrigation all the way down to, I've seen them in Cornville and Humboldt and Skull Valley and those areas. So you can go all the way down to like 4,000 foot level, but you'll have to irrigate them. At the higher elevation, the Groom Creeks, the Walkers, the Williams, yeah, you get them rooted and they'll go by themselves. Quite honestly, they even look better when you take care of them. And so with that being said, question was single trunk or multi-trunk? Well, let's explain this, Tom. You've got two types of multi-trunks. There's some that are farmed. That is, they're grown exact replicas. They're exact copies. They're perfect specimens. That's what you want. Then there's ranchers that are clearing some land. They've got a grove of aspens. They go out there with some shovels and start digging them up out of the ground. And then they put them in a bucket and they bring them in, and you'll find those for sale. They look very uneven. The trunks are very scarred. They got that black marking on them. And quite honestly, they get brutalized when they get dug up. They aren't rooted out well enough. I think you're better off buying a farm-bred, farm-raised aspen. Of course, that's all we sell here at Waters Garden Center because we want the perfect tree in every yard. And so look for those two things. Now you come down to single trunk or multi. The most common is 3 trunks in one container. We'll plant the aspens in a row, and then we'll harvest those as they're smaller, and we'll plant 3 exact copies in this bucket, and then we'll root them out for another 2-3 years, and then we grow them on until they're flushed out. And so now you've got a clump aspens, and they are just cookie cutter. I mean, like you'll look down the road and go, oh, they're all pretty. Which one do I get? Well, get them all. We'll just help you. Then you get the single trunk, which there's a place for those. So the way I spot or design with single trunked aspens, if you got a beautiful vista off your front porch or off a deck, you're overlooking Granite Mountain or some valley, I'll usually use those as kind of like picture frames. I'll put one on this side, one on that side, and I'll actually force your eye and like a picture frame down the driveway and look out over this vista, and it's spectacular. So you use them in different, or down a property line where it's real kind of tight. You want a tighter tree, but tall. I'll plant them down the property line. So there's places right off the patio. So you want something that doesn't get too wide, but gives you some shade. That's where you put those. But quite honestly, most will probably sell 3 to 1 multi-trunked over single trunked, but they're both available. So anyway, comes Tom. Get down here and talk to us. We'll give you the grand tour, and rather than some emailed questions, we can actually walk you through and guide you through the whole process.
Definitely. All right. Sandy has a hydrangea that some of the blossoms have done their thing. They've bloomed out. Right. She wants to know, how do you trim that back? Do you trim it like you just popping the blossom off? Do you trim it all the way back to the base? How do you? Does it say where she's from? No. Okay. Well, okay. Sandy. Somewhere in the Quad City area.
So hydrangeas. So this is a shade-loving plant. So you've had it on the back patio, the north side, under the canopy of trees, and they have been in bloom for, 2 months. It's been amazing. And so when that big pom-pommed flower starts to fade, you can cut that back just below the flower, where the foliage is about to start to come up. So don't go crazy. Don't go right back to the base. Just take the flower off, cut it off, and then fertilize it with Flower Power. It's a water-soluble food that we make here. Flower Power that, and it will start to form another flower. Hydrangeas do benefit from deadheading or pinching the spent flowers off. A lot of your perennial flowers are very much like that, but especially hydrangeas, they'll pulsate through flowers like that if you keep taking that spent flower off. I would say likewise, roses. They've been in bloom since April. So May, June, it's now virtually July. Some of those old spent flowers, cut those off. Don't go crazy. Don't go right down to the base. Just down to where the new foliage comes out, maybe even shape it a little bit so it keeps the form right. Fertilize it with Flower Power, and it will start taking off with a whole nother set of flowers is what you'll get out of that. So keep it blooming simply by taking it cleans it up so it looks better. Then it also forces it to, don't you focus on putting on seed or that old spent flower. You focus on brand new flowers and more butterflies and hummingbirds. Focus on beauty. not on dead flowers. Anyway, that's how you do hydrangeas.
Okay.
Good questions. So Ken and Lisa Lain, the Mountain Gardeners.
Water's Garden companion plants for July are hibiscus, maple, verbena, and crepe myrtle.
Crepe myrtle flowers are intense watermelon pink, solar reds, and LED whites that cover this heat-loving shrub.
Plant where you enjoy its beautiful multicolored bark and sinuous branches up close.
The flowers show against forest green foliage that turns red and orange in autumn.
Growing to just head height, every yard has room for at least one, and only available for summer planting here at Waters Garden Center in Prescott.
For a more fruitful garden, increased success in the landscape that just feels better, then tune in daily to the Mountain Gardener podcast. Subscribe through your favorite podcast streamer or visit watersgardencenter.com. Better yet, visit me directly right here at Waters Garden Center. Thanks for tuning in.